such a good game. I would imagine this glad we're going to see those two teams, New Mexico and San Diego State, play each other for
Dutcher already said it.
while.
He already used the elevation excuse. Hey, we're not going to play them.
Yeah, for a long while. Very much so.
Of course, UNLV and Josh Pastner, I don't think he mentioned the elevation, but it is one of the reasons they're never going to any of the Mountain West schools.
Sure.
Aside from, the disloyal five who are leaving, aside from San Diego State. Keep going.
So I like New Mexico. Again, I love seeing Boise go out to San Jose State because they made a game where New Mexico is probably going to be a 1-point underdog into a game where they're a double-digit favorite, and they clocked a Spartan team, which, by the way, I got to give Tim Miles credit. One player, his whole team was injured. They weren't any good, but they always were behind. I got to give him a lot of credit for even winning a game in the tournament. I like New Mexico tonight, but boy, great crowd tonight at Thomas and Mack, I would expect. And if that sets up a New Mexico-Nevada final, that's pretty good. That means you get two teams that stuck around Cofield in Mountain West final if we get that.
Well, the other part of the setup that's great is 3 of the 4 teams, they have to win this thing to get in. It's a tournament. So there's a time Utah, I think, is safe now. Are you going to challenge that and say who's in? Who's the second team that can get in at large? The team that can get in at large.
Here's the problem. I don't trust any of the big-time bracketologists at the moment. So I really have no idea. Even though in the one thing that I will say, if New Mexico gets to the final and loses by like 1 to Utah State, Santa Clara. So we know how the committee disrespects the little guy.
Blind resumes, they won't even know.
Like you're going with the head where Santa Clara went 0-3 against and New Mexico beat them by kind of neutral. That's hard to ignore to me, Cofield.
I am going to go chalk tonight. I think it's going to be Utah State and San Diego State. I think it'll make for an incredible final. And until Dutcher and San Diego State are dead at what they call VAS East, I don't believe they're out of this. So I think they'll make a run. And they got some bad basketball from last night, hopefully out of their system. I don't know why I said hopefully, but for them, hopefully, because the free throw shooting, my God. That was unbelievable how long that game went on and on and on. Number 3. L'Jarius Sneed, gone from the Titans. Boy, the Chiefs and cornerbacks, kind of interesting what they do. And I don't know if it's going to work out this time for the Chiefs. Like if they'll be able to replenish, and they moved on from some guys who are now with the Rams, and they made the right call, but they've been pretty good at making the right call.
Well, good organization usually does, right? And it's kind of crazy with the Snead thing because I actually loved the move for Tennessee when it happened, and now he's not even there, which Robert Saleh is really loving bringing in guys who are on those not-so-good Jets teams for a few years ago.
Do it. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, so I look, for Kansas City, it's interesting because the Rams obviously traded a lot for McDuffie and signed Watson the other day. I have my questions about Watson, just long-term, but I think Trent McDuffie's an elite corner in this league, so might be 50-50. They might hit on the one that they gave up the real capital for, and they might miss on a free agency signing. If that's the case, I think you take that trade if you're the Rams.
Number 2. We really haven't had a chance to break down, although we needed to do it for more than like 2 minutes, but Geno Smith from the Raiders to the Jets. Jets get an affordable starting quarterback. Raiders get some of the money off of their books. Win-win, or are you pissed as a Jets fan?
I have no idea what Geno Smith is at this point. I think I know, because I would imagine it's just a guy in the back end of his career who may the Jets have one thing going for them. They do have a really good offensive line. So that is the only thing that team really high who you know is a good guy and you know can handle playing in New York because he handled it reasonably well when he was there the first time. And so I can get there with a win-win.
That's the way I looked at it. Number one. Bringing a dude who can take the hits, deal with the media, probably not win a whole lot, keep in line for a good quarterback in next year's draft with the Jets. So back to Maxx. Right? Maxx. We got to talk Maxx. Mostly created this situation. I think there's some other stories that haven't been told that we'll get to today, but trade is unraveled. Maxx is back in town. Neither one of us believes that he wants to be here, or I don't believe the Raiders want him here, but they're going to play nice, I think, until someone decides to post on social media. But, you know, it's interesting. I see the fans reacting, a lot of them, Jeff, and I think they've finally gotten the front end of this correct. And many of them were not understanding it. Maxx Crosby wanted to leave. Okay, whether he said it publicly, he did it in many ways. He was insubordinate and stormed out of the facility and then posted silly social media, then didn't show up to the game. That was message number one that he wanted out. Then, as we found out from Vic Tafer, reporter with the New York Times, Mark Davis and Maxx Crosby met 2 months ago. At that meeting, Crosby said, I want out. Mark Davis said, you know what? We'll grant you the wish. And then the third one was Jay Glazer, right? It's not a mystery situation.
Yeah, but that was a fake report, though. He didn't know who Glazer was, right?
Yeah, he was a random.
He's a random guy.
But the thing that irks me a little bit with some fans on bringing these guys back together, I don't think they understand both sides are not really happy with the situation right now. I saw a Skodov said from Max's point of view, now that they're back together, he can look at the Raiders and say, hey, they tried to trade him. They acted in good faith. Can't fault them. But I keep seeing that the Raiders never wanted to trade Maxx. I don't believe that. I think the insubordination started them down that path, and they made an organizational decision weeks and weeks ago that, hey, here's a new game plan. Maxx wants out. We're in. This is our game plan. They wanted to move him. They weren't reluctant to move him to the Ravens, and I believe they still want to move him. Now that you've gotten that taste of those picks in the plan, they want to go back to that. Now, here's the thing. They're not going to get those picks. That's not going to happen.
That's that again.
They can hope.
Like you said in the first hour of the show, Cofield, rocking a hard place. Just you're not going to be able to get that package, and it's going to make it very difficult to, again, move him before the season starts. Let him rebuild a little bit of value, show that he's healthy, and then if you're like 2-6 at the trade deadline, get as much as you humanly can.
I'll give you more of the fan reaction where there are just a lot of fans who are just a little off the mark. I think a lot of them are now understanding that Maxx did want out. He probably still wants out. I think the Raiders want him out.
If you don't have gas,
hey, Danny, on countdowns, I just need a 10.
Doesn't smell good.
I'm all good.
Ew, what's that smell?
If it smells like rotten eggs, there could be a leak
Okay,
in
so
your neighborhood.
Now what do I do?
Nick Lowry's supposed to call us. I do have a backup number I'm going to put on the rundown.
Okay.
Yes.
But I don't have natural gas.
Is he calling at 4:20? Am I able to leave the studio without missing his call?
Yes.
1-1 and 7.
Okay.
Baseball is back at the world's largest Wednesday, March 26th at Circa Resort and Casino in downtown Las Vegas to celebrate the start of the season with a ceremonial first pitch by A's legend Dave Stewart. Catch all the games on their 78 million pixel screen while you feast on Coney Dogs by American Coney Island and complimentary apple pie. Plus special activations from the new hometown team, the A's. And oh yeah, moms drink free. Don't miss the first day of baseball at Circa Resort and Casino. Visit circalasvegas.com for more information.
This St. Patrick's Day, don't rely on luck when it comes to dealing with the insurance companies. Hi, this is Paul Pata from Paul Pata Law. If you've been in a car accident, motorcycle accident, or a slip and fall, our amazing team will fight on your behalf with the insurance companies to get you the justice you deserve. And we don't need a 4-leaf clover to do it. Remember, it's not about the injury, it's about the recovery. Go to paulpatalaw.com and have a safe and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey, Chuck, I see you have a 4.8 review rating on Trustpilot. Nice.
Our staff is so proud of their over 8,000 stellar reviews on Trustpilot. One of the best reasons to do business with Dollar Loan Center is our amazing bank-like locations and real, live, friendly staff.
I know your Southern Nevada customers just love your staff.
And so do I. We're so different than the average payday, check cashing, or title loan joints. We lend more and give more time to pack. Look, our locations are amazing. Great music on, and you immediately feel comfortable and welcome, like banks should be. Another thing we do that banks used to do is actually lend money.
Founded in Las Vegas over 28 years ago, DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by any of our 25 nearby locations to meet our real friendly staff. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
The countdown is on. April 2nd to 5th, the Aramco Championship hits Shadow Creek. Watch world number 1 Gino Titikin, world number 3 Charlie Hull, and world number 4 Minji Lee battle it out across 4 days on one iconic course. Secure your spots and get your tickets now at SeatGeek.com.
When our passion bedroom faded, I thought my husband wasn't attracted to me. I worried. I questioned everything. But I learned it wasn't that at all. Those expensive blue pills just weren't working.
At hardernaturally.com, our urologists treat
want
the blood
anything?
flow problem that causes erectile issues. No pills, no surgery, just a painless 15-minute treatment. Find us at
Just let him walk away.
.com.
It's finally Friday, and you deserve to indulge at Zippy's. Satisfy your Friday appetite with a Connect Attack Pack. This includes chicken katsu, terry beef, poke, hot dog, and Portuguese sausage, all on a bed of rice with kake. The Connect Attack Pack is available Fridays only from 10:30 a.m. while supplies last, both at the takeout counter and the dine-in restaurant. Zippy's, celebrating 60 years of serving Hawaii's comfort foods. Now, 4 locations: Arroyo Crossing, Hualapai Way, Southeastern in Henderson, and now at Summerlin.
Hey, Danny.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
Yep.
I found his number if you didn't call it. I know he said he called it.
I haven't seen anybody call.
Okay. Something loud came down the line, so I don't know what it was.
Don't let the
No, I think that was Mateo.
Okay.
call an experience. He knows how to fight and win.
All right, I think he's calling now.
771-5.
Sign up today for a new William Hill Nevada mobile sports account, and you can earn up to a $250 bonus bet after placing your first qualifying wager. The William Hill Nevada mobile sports app allows you to bet on the go from any iPhone, iPad, or Android device from anywhere in Nevada. Sign up today and you will never miss another bet. With the largest wagering menu, the mobile sports app features same-game parlays, early cash out, and live in-play wagering on all major sports. For more information, official rules, and to see participating sign-up locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas
Jet,
Raiders
former
and the
Chief.
JT the Brick Show.
Got a book
Modelo
out.
Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp,
I'll fill you in
refreshing
on the
taste.
hookup.
Brewed with fighting spirit since 1925. On ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
All right, rolling on. Go Field and Company. You heard it. Reno, Vegas. This hour is brought to you by Battle. Using that number in the north, they'll dial 775-766-1400. We're on the Strip. Golden Circle Sports Bar, like we are for every football Friday. And yes, it's always a football Friday. Outside of like 4 weeks, it's a lot. Not even, I don't know, but just there's always something going on. And this week has been wild with Maxx Crosby. Danny, give me a heads up if we have hooked up with our guest. We have.
Got him.
Okay. Let's talk. I think one of the more undercovered underexposed moves by the Raiders, and that was in the kicking game. We'll get to that. But we bring in Nick Lowry, former NFL kicker, NFL player, former Chief, and Jet. He's up with Jeff and Cofield. How are you, sir?
I'm good. And you know what? Better than former is current Hall of Famer for the Kansas City Chiefs and current all-time scorer for the Kansas City Chiefs.
There you
I
go.
like that sound.
There you go. Do you now that we've got the Raiders here, do you still feel comfortable when you come to Vegas, or is there a weird feeling that it's a Raiders town?
Brother, I don't worry about the Raiders. We've beaten them about 80% of the time. We beat them when I was with Marty Sunheimer. We beat them, I think, 21 out of 22 games. So, do you want me to tell you the story of when Marty came, what he told us about the Raiders?
Absolutely.
Okay, Marty comes in. Men, it's Raider week. This is 1989. He goes, they're going to cheap shot you. Don't react. Because the guy that reacts is always, and this is really true, is always the one that gets penalized. Take their number, and later in the game, when it seems like an appropriate moment, I give you permission to exact your statement of revenge. And after that, we beat the Raiders 21 out of 22 times. We had guys like, of course, Christian Okoye, Joe Montana, Steve DeBerg, incredible secondary, great pass rush with Derek Thomas. So, but, we're still beating them now most of the time. I have a feeling they're on the right track. I don't know if it's Tom Brady yet, but they've made some good acquisitions, and they're probably very lucky to get Maxx Crosby back because he's just an incredible leader.
Nick, what do you think about that situation when a guy gets traded away and then you have to overturn the trade and now you got to welcome him back? Does the player want to be back? Does he feel like he got burned, although he wanted to leave?
Well, his post, I think yesterday, was, hey, I'm happy to be back. You know what? I think you don't want to give up being part of something. When you play for a team that much and performed and made incredible plays, frankly, a lot of against Patrick Mahomes. I'll never forget Christmas Day a couple of years ago when they just embarrassed the Chiefs. So you get, I think, ready to adjust. And frankly, I think the Ravens said, listen, we can go get that guy from Cincinnati and not give up 2 number 1 picks. And all we have to do is pretend that Maxx isn't ready. And we know he's not ready now, so we can justify it. So I think a lot of that went into that decision. Who wants to play for a team that's that fast and loose with their commitments?
So, Nick, tell people what you got going on right now on this Friday. And I know you got a book, right?
I've got a book that just came out on Amazon right now. It's called Naked and Alone with 80,000 People. And it's all about how you manage pressure, whether you're a kicker or quarterback, or whether you're your own kicker or quarterback in life, where you're aspiring to do something special with your life. You have to deal with pressure, and you have to do social media criticism, unfair criticism, great public scrutiny. Maybe you're not so good at managing yourself and your success. All those things are part of it. What do you do in rejection? What do you do under pressure? And what do you do to make your life mean more than just your career?
So totally all applicable really to everyone who's listening right now, because we all deal with those situations. Maybe not at the NFL kicker level, but we have pressures.
Everybody does. And with social media, man, you're going to get people, the haters, right, that are anonymous. You have to learn to not worry about those things. Frankly, to not worry about social media at all is probably a better choice. But, I had a chance to work in Washington for Senator John Chafee and Senator Bob Packwood. I worked for Reagan and Bush and Clinton. I don't give a darn about party. It just felt great to serve and spend 4 months every offseason making football a little less important, finding balance. And I think being able to do things like working with the NFL Players Association with Native Americans and Native Vision, which is now in its 30th year. And each of those experiences, when we stick with something, not for 2 years, but for 20, you can literally stop and end generation. That's where the juice is. And Maxx Crosby would say the same thing. I use this stage as an all-pro future legend of the sport to help other people feel powerful, feel like they're not invisible. That's where the good stuff is. I just had lunch today with Mark Kerr, who's the star and featured with The Rock playing him in the movie The Smashing Machine. And he's right there. We both said, you know what? A Super Bowl ring, one of those huge belts as an MMA world champion mean nothing if you lose that connection with other people. And you see now, I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, an NFL player, 25 years old, commits suicide. You know, you can get to the mountaintop and feel completely alone. You can go, you know, when I get there, when I get my Oscar, when I get my All-Pro, when I get the big salary, you know, then I'll be happy. And then you realize you feel even more alone and more lonely. So I'm really passionate about that. I do a lot of work with the homeless in Phoenix, and we put a human face on the homeless here, unlike what's happening unfortunately in California. And my NFL teammates join me, and they all say the same thing. When you're driving home from Champions for the Homeless and you've helped, let's say 30 or 40 homeless people feel like they're seen and they're valuable, that you treat them just as equals, and you go home, you feel like that's what Thanksgiving is about, and make Thanksgiving your everyday thing. So as you might be able to tell, I'm pretty passionate about it because it brings out the best in me, and I just love seeing great people realize they truly can find control in their lives when they do things like that.
Nick Lowry, Chiefs Hall of Famers on the horn with ESPN Reno, ESPN Las Vegas. Naked and Alone with 80,000 People is the book up on Amazon. I want to ask you about stretching the limits of what human beings can do. What's your take? What's your view on what kickers are doing now? It's on a field goal. It seems to get pushed out further and further and further.
Well, it's kind of a joke. You know, we may have noticed that media don't always cover all the stories. I mean, the fact is that for about 10 years now, the ball has been broken in. When you have a baseball mitt, it's leather, but it has to be broken in. The footballs, when they're broken in, little science here. Remember sports science? The foot connects with the football for 0.004 of a second. If it's broken in, it adds about 0.005 of a second. Well, that's 12.5% more power. It may not sound like much, but 12.5% more power is an extra 8-9 yards. And then now, in addition to that, now, and Harrison Butker is a friend of mine. He's an awesome kicker. Now you can use the ball in practice for 3 weeks. So the balls are going close to 10 yards farther. The fields, just like at a Legion field, are beautiful. They're kind of like, you know, golf, perfect fairways, right? It's a little different from the old days when huge clods of sod are ripped up and, you know, you're kicking off good conditions too. You got great snappers. So the kickers are better now, but they ain't that much better. There's a big reason why the balls are going 10 yards farther. So you just don't, it's sort of like when you're playing golf and you can occasionally hit a 300-yard drive, but you can consistently hit one 240, and suddenly you relax because now that 240-yard drive goes about 280, and that's what's happened for a lot of kickers. They are better. Brandon Aubrey is also a great kicker. I don't take that away from them, but they're just not that much better, and it's really kind of sad that none of those questions, I mean, when it was Deflategate, they made a huge deal out of the ball being deflated, made it easier supposedly to throw, et cetera. But the truth is, this is, to me, a much more profound thing because every single game is affected by it.
So then, Nick, does Tom Dempsey still have the longest kick record in your record book?
No, because I guess the kicker for Baltimore is no longer there. Justin Tucker, he had a 66-yarder, and I'll give him credit that, you know, that's maybe a little, but it helps you understand that maybe those old records, I had 3 of the 5 longest in history. I had the longest one in the history of the first quarter against the Redskins back in 83, 43 years ago, 58-yarders, almost 59. And I'm pretty proud of that. And I think if I got to kick the football today, might be a little bit easier. Raiders of almost 50 yards. Picture from my buddy Mike Davis in that game. O.J. Simpson was announcing from the sidelines, and after I kicked it, it hit halfway up the net. This was the Thursday night game in 1985. O.J. goes, could have gone 70 yards. It was like, oh, he might someday break Tom Dempsey's record. So proud of that. Kickers today are awesome, but don't forget to give credit to the guys that were kicking close to 60-yarders back when the balls were not broken in, and much harder and much colder, by the way, when it was late season.
Nick, we got about a minute left. Nick Lowry's with us. One more time, pop the book that's up on Amazon and anything else that you have going on right now.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Go ESPN. The book's called Naked Alone with 80,000 People. If you go on Amazon Books, you can get it, and the paperback is $19.95. It's an awesome book because it's really about finding your sense of presence and power and focus. And in an ADD generation, I think we all need that a little bit. And I'm grateful for the NFL and my career. I just hope that people realize NFL players, the great ones, they absolutely love giving back. Travis Kelce is that way. Patrick Mahomes is that way. So is Max Crosby.
Nick, thank you so much. Be well. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
There he is, Nick Lowry. We were so close to hammering on the Chiefs and also doing about 15 minutes of Jets talk, but we ran out of time.
Oh, man.
Could we get someone fired up for Geno Smith being on the Jets? Could Nick be that guy?
I will say.
It's going to work. It's exactly what the Jets need. It's a good thing.
Well, is it going to work for wins or is it going to work to get the first pick?
It's going to work to get a high pick.
Okay.
Sadly, you know what? Let's hit this on the way back. And I'm not saying this guy's the best source on this, but you remember the Mannings do have a history of making sure their quarterbacks don't go to lousy organizations, and the Jets are lousy.
It's time for the Findlay Cadillac Henderson Player Performance of the Week.
This week's Findlay Cadillac Henderson Player Performance of the Week comes from the ranks of the college hoop game. Matter of fact, it's really a team overall performance, not only for one game, but an entire season. Who am I talking about? Miami University of Ohio. The Redhawks, they completed an undefeated season Friday night with a 110-108 overtime victory over their rival Ohio. Miami went start to finish without losing a game, ended up 31-0 overall and 18-0 in MAC play. One of the stars of the game was Miami guard Ian Elmer, who had a career-high 32 points and 12 rebounds on the night. After the game, I asked him when it started to feel like he'd have a big night for the Redhawks and the season that they had overall.
It started, I made some shots, but it started with my effort on the glass. I was crashing as hard as I could, and honestly, it just felt like the ball was going my way on those offensive rebounds. So, I was able to get extra possessions, extra points for our team.
For you and your teammates, 31-0, 18-0 in conference play. What has this season meant to you guys?
Oh, it's been a joy, absolute joy. But we'll sit back and reflect on that after the Maxx tournament, after our March Madness run. The job still isn't finished yet. We're trying to continue to make more history.
That's Ian Elmer from Miami University talking about his night, 32 points, 12 rebounds, and the Redhawks' great season that currently has them ranked number 19 overall in the country, with the MAC tournament on the way getting started this week. And even with them ranked number 19 in the country, there are some experts, and I say that in air quotes, that say if they don't win the MAC tournament, they shouldn't make the NCAA tournament, because the MAC is a conference that traditionally only sends one team to the dance. Now, I'm here to tell you, if you're a team that is in the top 20 right now and you haven't lost a game all season, there is no way, and I mean no way, that you can lose one game and all of a sudden be out of the field of 68. This program played their schedule. They beat everyone. They dealt with adversity. They had to go to overtime multiple times, but they found a way to get it done. Now, I don't know how long this run is going to last. That I do admit. But a program that deserves to be dancing would be the Miami University Redhawks. Again, it's not an individual performance. It's not just one game performance. It is a whole season going undefeated. That was the Findlay Cadillac Player Performance of the Week, brought to you by Findlay Cadillac Henderson, the prestigious Cadillac Dealer of the Year. Explore their inventory online, FindlayCadillac.com, or visit their state-of-the-art showroom located at 993 Auto Show Drive. Check out my favorite, which you already know, the Escalade or the Escalade IQ. The Lyric CT4 CT5 is a beautiful vehicle as well, or any of their other luxurious vehicles and SUVs that they have in stock.
All right, here we go.
The deal. Let them know that your boy Q sent you.
That was the Findlay Cadillac Player Performance of the Week, brought to you by Findlay Cadillac Henderson.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Halfway point of the show. Next spot there from Nick Lowry. former NFL kicker, Chiefs Hall of Famer. Go to Amazon, search for his book as one that is certainly applicable to just about everyone in 2026, right? Lots of pressure on people. You got to deal with it. And he talked about dealing with social media. I deal with it. I deal with it every day. I try not to let it get me down. I try not to let the trolls out there, the big mouth sports talk radio hosts get me upset, right? I start tweeting at them, tweeting about them, getting in beefs. I'm going to be better, Nick. I'm going to be better.
Just the beef. You're just a guy who loves the beef, though.
I kind of do. It's the lifeblood of what we do on the air anyway, so why not do it off the air?
By the way, have we checked in on that guy at the table at Reno from a few weeks ago?
Oh, what the dude who's harassing people at a pie gow table? And then I sat down and looked at him and I'm like, not tonight. I'm like, I'm not having it. I'm here to have a nice evening, nice quiet evening playing tie gow and try to get 17 beers out of $100 just tying for 4 hours. So he got tossed. I was on the right. Headline: Mike Francesa. The Mangs, quote, will not let Arch Manning play for the Jets. I mean, come on, Mike. Why? Why do you have to do that to Jeff and I? But he ain't wrong. I don't know. I don't know if Archie has made a public statement about it. I don't know if he's in control of things anymore. But that's why I said to you earlier about Geno Smith going from the Raiders to the Jets. Nice move by the Raiders. I don't know that Geno wanted to go to the Jets specifically, but he wants to play, and that's one of the places he can play. Probably preferred to go to, say, Miami, but they went the young route and gave a pretty good contract to Malik Willis. But the notion that Geno can help the tank for the Jets, he potentially can. But even with a low win total, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to get Arch Manning or that the Mannings will allow it. So that's why I said a few minutes ago, you just want, if you're in a rebuild and you're looking for a quarterback, you just want to be in the top 10 in a draft like next year's.
Yeah, and who knows? We don't know either way, even though, again, we have the history of it where Peyton legitimately went back to Tennessee instead of playing for the Jets and then ended up in Indianapolis. Obviously, you all know what happened with Eli, where he refused to play for the Chargers and ended up with the Giants. Even though that trade worked out for everybody, worked out okay for Philip Rivers, who now has to wait another 5 years to get into the Hall of Fame now, Cofield. That, by the way, that's one of those where we'll look back at this season and be like, that really happened? Philip Rivers played, actually, by the way, played better against the Seahawks after not playing for 5 years than Drake May did in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, it's interesting. Also, apparently, a good friend of mine, every time that there's something that's goofy that comes up on Francesa's podcast, I'll get a text about it. Apparently, kept saying that Crosby went back to Oakland multiple times.
I mean, people still slip on that one. He probably says San Diego Chargers.
Well, I've done that more recently than the Raiders, but I would hope I don't screw up where the Raiders play at this point, Cofield. I hope I don't mess that one up.
I think the Jets will be fine.
The Jets will.
I'll leave it at that. I'm lying. I don't know what fine is anymore.
What counts is they just winning. Well,
no. Next year, fine is not winning more than 6 games. It's a sad reality for really crappy franchises, and the Raiders did what they were supposed to do down the stretch, in spite of Maxx Crosby pushing back on them and trying to make a public spectacle of what the tank is down the stretch. You have to get franchise quarterbacks unless you're brilliant in personnel judgment, and you can get a guy who's on the bounce back like a Sam Darnold or maybe a Malik Willis. You have to get him in the draft.
Yeah. Well, Miami has no clue what they're doing anyway. So,
boy, that is. I tell you, we're gonna have a summer of you smashing the Dolphins, and mostly because of Halfley. You hate that hire.
Horrible hire. Horrible hire. And also, too, those 2 games between the Jets and the Dolphins,
oh boy,
are going to be something else. By the way, also now that Geno's a Jet, Fernando Mendoza, I'm putting this on record right now. Fernando Mendoza's NFL debut will come in MetLife Stadium against the Jets in Week 1.
Wow,
that's my prediction.
Bold prediction. I have a bet on Mendoza and wins for the Raiders. I need some things to break the right way here. I'm not hearing good news on it so far.
Nick here with Stefano's Greek and Mediterranean Grill. Summerlin, it's official. Stefano's is now open on Lake Mead in Buffalo. Come enjoy our beautiful dining room designed for family meals, quick lunches, and everything in between. Or swing by for fast, easy takeout with all your favorites. Gyros, bowls, shawarmas, kebabs, and our famous baklava. Our salad dressings and marinades are made with no seed oils. And our must-try fries are cooked in 100% avocado oil. The new Stefano's in Summerlin is now open. Come taste what everyone's talking about. Stefano's, real food, real fast, real healthy.
See your Vegas Golden Knights on Wednesday, April 15th against the Seattle Kraken in the Party Deck, presented by Sire Spirits. The Party Deck is where all the off-the-ice excitement happens, from the Knights Castle to the Night Line. Tickets in the Party Deck are standing room only. Tickets start at just $39. Go to VGKTicketExchange.com for all the info. That's VGKTicketExchange.com. Sponsored by West Star Credit Union and Centennial Subaru. Resale for tickets will be delivered by a mobile 48 hours before the game.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-433-8909. 800-433-8909. Again, that's 800-433-8909.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
After an accident, you don't want another headache dealing with the insurance companies. Let us get you all the money you deserve. Call 877-1500. That's 877-1500.
Murder and rope is the way to go. Call 877-1500. 877-1500.
Randy Westbrook, managing attorney.
Spring savings start now with Sunburst Shutters. Refresh your home before the warmer months kick in and fall back in love with your space. For a limited time, save up to $500 on custom window treatments that add beauty, comfort, and serious style to every room. From exclusive Hollywood shutters to sleek motorized shades and custom blinds, everything is made in the USA and built to last. Boost curb appeal, improve energy efficiency, keep your home cooler and more comfortable all season long. Don't wait, these spring savings won't last forever. Visit SummerShuttersLasVegas.com.
When our passion in the bedroom faded, I thought my husband wasn't attracted to me. I worried, I questioned everything, but I learned it wasn't that at all. Those expensive blue pills just weren't working.
At hardernaturally.com, our urologists treat the blood flow problem that causes erectile issues. No pills, no surgery, just a painless 15-minute treatment. Find us at hardernaturally.com.
This sports update is brought to you by Circa Las Vegas. Check out all the exciting sports action at Stadium Swim. 6 pools, a 143-foot screen, daybeds, cabanas, and more. For more info, visit circalasvegas.com.
The Nighthawks opening game in Green Bay.
Got Chuck. Here we go.
Sunday to Monday. The game will now start locally at 4, and UNLV's Krishna Jayasankar will compete tomorrow in Arkansas at the NCAA Track and Field Championships in shot put.
It's Cofield and Company's Eye on Sports Betting. Only on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Live here at Treasure Island. Time to go behind the counter with the STN boss. Chuck Esposito is with Jeff Parle, Steve Cofield. Chuck.
What's up, buddy?
A whole lot. The grind never stops. It's us against you guys. It's us against you guys, and we got lots of stuff to bet right now. First of all, I don't know that we've ever asked you, like, what do you like, Chuck? What's your favorite time of the year? My favorite time of the year is March Madness and the start of baseball, but, you know, you might be a football guy. What is your favorite time of the year as a sports fan?
You know, everything runs together so much, guys, that I love it all. There's really not that much downtime anymore. I love football season just from the crowds that it brings in and just the atmosphere. But nothing really compares to those 3 weeks of March Madness. It is so much fun. I think it was a little bit different as I was coming up in the industry. You had so much more of kind of David against Goliath and Cinderella stories that it's changed somewhat. But love the tourney, love the crowds that it brings in. Sometimes you see guests just once a year, and it's tourney time. But I'm a big football guy. I love that time of year, but nothing beats the tourney for those first 3 weeks.
Well, Chuck, just before we get to next week, obviously this week is yesterday is one of my favorite days of the whole year because you have all these high-end conference tournament games from 9 a.m. out here in Vegas to about 11 o'clock at night. Today, all these heavy-duty semifinals in a lot of these powerful leagues. Just how has the action been on these conference tournaments?
The action's been great, Jeff. I mean, really, anytime you have events out here too, as we talked about last week, it always adds some intrigue and an uptick in handle and action overall. But I can tell that a lot of guests are waiting for next week. The handle's been terrific. The crowds have been good, but I know what it's like for next week. The amount of kind of reserve seat requests that I have are Super Bowl-esque for next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm anticipating huge crowds, just great fun. I mean, having the STN mobile app brings the sportsbook to you too. So I think in our guest cases that we love when they come out and enjoy everything we have to offer. But man, you've got that sportsbook in the palm of your hand if you're running a few errands and doing a few things before you pop in and out for the game. So it's an exciting time for us. It's a time for our entire team to shine and just really provide the utmost in guest service and make sure that our guests feel like they're at one of these regions, one of these stadiums, enjoying the games up close and in personal on one of our big screens.
Chuck, just I want to go to Duke real quick. They're in action tonight against Clemson. Reasonable sized favorite for them tonight, but a little bit worried about them after last night where you're not going to have Caleb Foster again this year. Gongba's hopefully going to be back for the tournament. Only beat Florida State by 1. Is there any impact to how you guys perceive Duke behind the counter, especially with Foster likely not coming back, and if they're unable to get the big guy back as well for the tournament?
To look at, I mean, you're right. They had a really tough game yesterday against Florida State. Hopefully, they have a get-right game tonight versus Clemson, who's played the last 2 games. Duke's one of the few teams, guys, that we do have some liability on from a future book perspective. So, if for some reason they're not there at the end, it's not catastrophic. Although the tournament is very chalky the last 2 years, we have not had the same amount of success from our side of the counter the last 2 years that we had before that. I think a big piece of that, of course, is the NIL money and the transfer portal. It's just been a little bit different. You just don't see those kind of Cinderella and David against Goliath matchups that you've seen in the past. Now, that could be flipped this year. The script could be totally different. But overall, it's been very chalky the last couple of years.
What about another top team that won earlier today? Again, a lot of these top teams are dealing with significant injury, or at least one key injury. Michigan today, dogfight against Ohio State. They win and advance to the semifinals of the Big Ten. Just how much do you think that injury to Kaysen has impacted how you
still have to look at that as you get into the tournament and rotations change with some of these injuries, and we'll see how teams are playing at that time. And I always say it, and I'm preaching it, and you guys have probably hear me say it with every sport. When you get into that kind of tournament time or playoffs in your particular sport, you not only want to be playing well, you want to kind of have that swagger, but you also want to be at your healthiest. And it's obvious there's a few of these top teams that are not right now. So maybe that does open the door a bit. Maybe you'll see a little bit more parity across the board, and you'll have some of these schools that we thought would be, have an easy road to the Final Four or be a team that's going to at least be in the Elite Eight. Maybe we'll see some of those upsets this year. But overall, you will definitely look at the injuries, and it definitely factors in. There's no question about it, especially late in the season where rotations have to change.
Chuck, the projected 1 seeds right now are Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida. Who's a team outside of that top 4 that you guys may have some liability stacked up and against those number 1 seeds?
There's not a whole lot right now of liability, guys. We're able to kind of stay out in front of it and be in overall good shape. Really, the team that really kind of stands out right now is Duke. I mean, there might be some extreme long shots where there's a little bit, but nothing crazy. And I think that just goes back to it's been so chalky of late that we're not looking at those, high liability schools right now. Like, a lot can change between now and the start of the tournament next week, or larger wagers that we might take once tourney rolls around. But nothing crazy right now as I look at our big board.
Chuck, tell the audience about contest for March Madness.
Happy to do so. I mean, Last Man Standing is our signature contest. We offer it during the pro football season, the college football season, and again for the big dance. It's a $25 entry fee, guys. 4 entries at $100 gives you a 5th entry free. It's just like the tournament. You win and you move on. It's against the STN contest line. The cool thing is that for that $25, it's an aggregate payout, so it would be split, but we're giving away $50,000, $50,000. So it's matchsticks to lumberyards pretty quickly if you happen to be the only winner in the tournament. If there's multiple winners, they would split the prize, but $50,000 guaranteed. If we take in more entries than that, we'll of course give out more as well, but we're giving back 100% of our entry fee, or $50,000. So kind of a fun contest for a very minimal investment. And Last Man Standing, again, in all 3 sports has been really, really successful for us.
Chuck Esposito on ESPN Reno and ESPN Las Vegas. Got to get your sports take on what happened with Maxx Crosby and the Ravens and the trade coming apart.
I mean, it's a little bit bizarre. I think, if some of the stories we've heard are true, that Maxx and his wife were in the building when they were negotiating with Hendrickson in another part of the building, if that's true, and you've heard Raven management say it had nothing to do with medicals, I think just, maybe giving up the 2 number ones. There wasn't a huge difference in money. I think draft picks are so valuable in that league, and having to give up 2 number ones opposed to not having to deal a number 1 and paying about the same money, although Crosby is a little bit younger. He's coming off the injury. I think they just had a change of heart for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it'll come out at some point. Don't believe it was medical related, if that's what we're kind of hearing from the Ravens right now. But I think the interesting piece, guys, is that the Raiders are saying the right things, and he's going to be a Raider, but they need a lot of help. They play in a really tough division with teams that are really good. I know the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs last year, but everyone expects them to make them again this year. They've already they signed Kenny Walker. They have the 9th pick in the draft. It's Patrick Mahomes, if he's healthy, and Andy Reid. Chargers are good with a good young quarterback. Broncos are good with a good defense and a young quarterback. This Raider team is clearly the 4th best team in the AFC West. So they need help in a lot of areas, not just with Mendoza. So I still think there's a chance he gets traded, but I say he gets traded if he does right around draft day, right around the 23rd, the first round. I could see him potentially being moved, and I'm not ruling out Chicago or Dallas now as 2 teams that might be in line for Maxx Crosby.
You sent me your win totals at STN, and sandwiched around the Raiders. You got the Chiefs 10.5, Chargers 10.5. Raiders have spent a lot of money this last week, and I know the lean had been on the under. Did you get some positive Raider money coming in? People wanting to fire on the over?
We did get a little bit, and we've got some future book money on them as well. They're always going to be a popular bet, Steve, for our guests, and I think that's a big part of it. I love the move with the center. I think that's huge. I think we saw it 2 years ago. The Bears didn't have an offensive line, and Caleb Williams took a record amount of sacks. They went out and improved that offensive line, added Drew Dahlman at center. Although he's since retired, they've made another trade to get a center. I think you need to have an anchor on that offensive line, somebody that can help Mendoza, help keep him upright. They still need more help on the O-line, but making that move for the center I thought was huge for the Raiders. They've got a lot of stuff they need to do, but I think that was the first piece to really help a young quarterback.
You guys have posted make the playoffs, yes, no, in the NFL. You're getting some brisk action on that one, and I wonder if people are bullish on a Raider team that the win total is pretty low, and if people are willing to say yes on make the playoffs.
They always are, but it's a little bit skewed. I mean, we see different action on the Raiders, the Knights, the Aces, our teams right now, and I'm sure when the A's get here, it's going to be very similar. And as I said earlier, guys, they play in a tough division. They play with 3 really, really good teams who all have good coaches. And the Raiders are a young team. You've got Genty, you've got Bowers. I believe they'll have Mendoza. So you have some of the key players that will be in place, but they still need to really fill in those trenches. They need to get better at wide receiver, and those steps to be a top-notch pro football quarterback.
10-1 on the Raiders to make the playoffs. That's enticing. That's a nice number. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, it is. But again, I know we saw teams go from worst to first last year. We saw the Patriots, the Bears, both take major jumps and win their divisions. It's just a lot, I think, for a very young team who plays in, again, a really tough division. But yeah, I think if you're looking for value, and if Mendoza, I have no idea if he's going to start or not. I personally think he should not start the season. But if they decide to throw him in, he's going to be thrown to the wolves pretty early on to see what kind of quarterback he is. But I personally think he will sit for the majority of the season.
Last one. How are people handling MVP betting when we've got this situation looming about guys being disqualified if they fall under a certain number of games played?
They're still looking at it, and they have the same questions as we do. So I don't know exactly ultimately how it'll work out. But maybe guys aren't going to not play or will definitely play these games now, so they're not excluded from that list.
Chuck, appreciate it. Remind people again, you guys always have the good sign-up bonus with STN.
Yep, got the $50 no-worry wager, up to $50, I should say. It's a great time to get signed up. I mean, it's all the stuff going on right now. That no-worry wager, you win, awesome, man, you cash. But if you lose, we're going to put up to that $50 right back in your account again. So great time with Last Man Standing, all of our food and beverage specials, great drink specials, games on big screens, great atmosphere, friendly staff. Come on in and enjoy the games, guys.
Thanks, Chuck. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Chuck Esposito with Jeff Parles and Steve Cofield right here on ESPN Reno and ESPN Las Vegas. So I was alluding to a bet that I had made on the Raiders, and for listeners, they probably heard me talk about this, but it is going to be something interesting to follow. My bet, Jeff, was Raiders over 6.5 wins, but in games that Mendoza starts. So the stuff about he's not going to start out of the gates, oh boy, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I need as many games as possible.
You need 7. You need 17 where he's the clear starter.
By the way, if the Raiders didn't take Mendoza, the bet's still good. I get 6.5 over with any team that he goes to.
Well, if he ends up with the Jets, I don't like that either.
I might be cooked.
Yeah,
we screwed on that one. All right, Danny's here. It's Parles, Mateo, Cofield. We got the 5 o'clock hour on the way. Matt and Everett, and some baseball talk coming up in less than 10 minutes.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stocked with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. McFadden Industrial